right, good morning and welcome to the Sports Buffet on Elegbete TV Radio. My name is Edafe Matthew Esiogene, and you know I love to be your friendly neighborhood sport talker and a diehard believer of the Nigerian dream and the Nigerian football system. The way it is, we can get better. And I like to talk to eminent personalities in the sporting space. Yeah, whether they are talking football, whether they are coaches, managers, administrators, players, or football fans, we love to talk to them. We love to get their perspective. We love to also see the game and the sports from their own angle. And what better guest do I have on the show today than the biggest person when it comes to managing football in Nigeria and also on the African continent? If you agree with me that Nigeria is one of the biggest teams on the African continent, then you know that the manager of that team is also the biggest manager on the African continent. I'm talking about no other person than the coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, Mr. Gernot Rohr. But before I go to Mr. Gernot Rohr and bring him on the microphone, let me also tell you that I've got my friend and my brother, the man who's holding the fort for me when I was away in Abuja, and then I went to Anambra, I went to Enugu, I went to where I was traveling around the country. He was here holding the fort in the morning and evening. Joseph Okiche, how you doing?
Honestly, I'm so happy, seeing you once again. I've missed the city. It's good to be back.
Yeah, guys, let me tell you guys one secret. Okay, I went to Anambra and I lost my tooth. Yeah, I became Oparaku. Not be Oparaku anyway. But I'm back. I fixed it. I got artificial tooth on my mouth. I don't know if it will last or if it will fall, but I talk with a little bit of a slur if you listen very well. But let me go to the coach of the national team, Gernot Rohr, is waiting on the wing. Coach, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Matthew. Good morning, everybody.
All right, good to have Coach on the show today. And Coach, let me say this up front. I put out information to the world out there that you're going to be on the show today, and the fans of Nigerian football have a lot of questions, and I've selected 10 of those questions to throw up to you. But before I bring the questions of the fans, let's have our conversation first. Coach, how has been the Nigerian coach? How has it been for you as a coach of Nigeria? How has the experience been for you?
It was a good experience. It's already 5 years now, since 2016. I started in Rio with the first game against Tanzania, so we had a lot of games to do since this time. We had a little experience also with the AFCON and with the World Cup. And it's a nice work for me. I enjoy it. I like this job, and especially to work with my young players.
Okay, so let's come to you. You just bring up on us. The NFF told us they were going to employ. At one point, we all thought that Paul Iguen was the coach that they were bringing, the former Leicester City coach, and then all of a sudden you showed up. A lot of Nigerians actually do not know you when it comes to knowing you. So let's get to know you today. Who is Gernot Rohr? We always hear he's a Franco-German coach. He's a German-Franco coach. Who is Gernot Rohr? Where are you from? How did you grow up? Did you play football? If you did, what clubs did you play for? Where have you coached before? Let's get to know you.
Yeah, so the easiest way to know who I am is you go into Google, you put in my name, Gernot Rohr, and then you will see what they say about me. Because I never like to speak about myself. It's not my kind of action to speak about myself. But if you want really to know that I'm born in Germany, I'm the last son from 6 children, and my father was already a football player and the coach and the teacher. And then I grew up in this football atmosphere in the family and also in the clubs. Started with 8 years. Then I played in Mannheim. I was international for Germany for the junior. Then Bayern took me. I had my first professional contract with Bayern Munich with some good players like Franz Beckenbauer, Gerd Müller, Sepp Maier and others. And then I could already learn a lot about professional football and how to win the matches, because Bayern Munich was already in this time in the 70s one of the best teams in the world. So then I got an injury and I had to return to Mannheim to come back into the rhythm of the coach.
Okay, so
my father was a coach there. I played 6 months there and coming back in the first Bundesliga later.
Okay, so when you became a coach, how was the journey of being a coach? Where has it taken you?
Yeah, when you have a father who is already a coach, when you have good coaches like I had in my career in Germany, in France, Aimé Jacquet, I had him for 10 years in Bordeaux. Aimé Jacquet was the World Cup coach from France 1998. So you have some ideas to become also a coach, and it is good that the passion, which is for us the football, can be also a job after your career like a player. That's why I wanted to do my diplomas already when I was playing at the end of my career, and I could stop my career already with a diploma coach in the pocket.
Okay, so thank you very much for introducing us here. Now, there's a part of you that we also want to know. Some people say that you are married. Some other people say you're not. There's a presenter in my studio that wants to marry you. Her name is Adasa Ajayi. She's in love with you. She's always saying that if you don't want to marry her as your wife, you can be a sugar daddy. And it's not fine. She's a beautiful girl. She's got everything. I'm not hawking her. I'm not pimping her. But I'm just saying that. So let's talk about you. Coach, are you married? You have children?
Yeah, I have 4 children, and these 4 children are made with 3 different women. Actually, the mother of my last children is here in France, and when I come to Nigeria, I'm of course alone because for the work. For me, it's not possible to be all the time with the family. So I have to make sacrifices and to go to work alone. So when I'm in Nigeria, we say in France, célibataire. I'm a single.
Okay, so you take a oath of celibacy. That's célibataire. For those of you who don't understand, it's saying that when it comes to Nigeria, that's I should forget about it because it's on celibacy leave. Now, let's come to working in Nigeria. When you first came to Nigeria, what was the first thing that captured your attention coming into Nigeria?
The first thing which captured my attention was the place of Uyo, the wonderful football stadium they have there, and the facilities we had in Uyo. It was a wonderful place. We had in this state Aqua Ibom the best possibilities to prepare our matches. So that was the first impression, and then I had also, of course, Lagos, Abuja, with the federation, with the sport ministry. We had also in Lagos some meetings with Mr. Pinnick, our president. So yeah, now I think I know a little bit better Nigeria. I don't know all, but a lot of things now I'm familiar with Nigeria.
Okay, so before we go into the playing staff, the situation of the team before you came, and then where they are right now, what language have you learned since you came into Nigeria? Pidgin English, Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, Calabar, Ibibio, Efik. What language have you learned?
So fortunately, my dad brought me in a school where I learned for 9 years Latin language, and with this Latin language, after it's easier to learn the other language, I had also English. I started with English, second language, and then French. In Nigeria, I could learn a little bit of Pidgin English, but I prefer speak normal English, which I learned in the school, and then also a little bit of Yoruba, but not so many words.
Okay, so can you say a few words in Pidgin English and in Yoruba?
Yeah, how you day, in Yoruba, monifere. This is a nice word, I like it.
Monifere, I love you. All right, Coach, let's get into the Super Eagles team. When you came into the Super Eagles of Nigeria, we had not qualified for 2 Nations Cup back-to-back. That was the first time such a thing was happening in the history of this country. And then you started building your team. Your first World Cup, you went, for me, by my standard and where we've been before, was a disaster. We had that worst performance at the World Cup in Russia because Nigerians had a lot of expectation, especially with our jerseys and all of that. But then what happened? Can you really make us understand what happened to your team? Because we expected, you had Odion Ighalo, you had Ahmed Musa, you had a group of players that we felt could take us far, and Argentina was not in the best form of their time, but we didn't do well. We fell out of the group.
Yeah.
What happened in Russia?
Yeah, like you said, when I arrived in Nigeria, they didn't qualify for some international competitions, and I accepted a contract which was an obligation for me to qualify for the World Cup, and if it's not qualified, the contract was finished. So I took this clause, this risk, and then we go to the World Cup without any defeat. We had in our qualifiers Algeria, we had Zambia, we had very good teams. Cameroon was champion of Africa, but we had the youngest team in the World Cup. We were the youngest team, is 23.8 average age. So I think my team missed a little bit of experience, especially in the last minutes against Argentina. Our first match was against Croatia, and you saw later that Croatia had a wonderful team going until the final against France. And the second match, we made it very well against Iceland with 2 wonderful goals of Ahmed Musa. And the third one, Argentina, with the big Lionel Messi. Yeah, we were on the draw, 1-1. There was a penalty for us. The referee didn't give it. There was a clear handball, but they didn't give it. I think it's very difficult for African countries sometimes also to have the sympathy of the officials. So we had to accept this defeat in the end of the match. But my boys did very well, and I was very happy. Everywhere, in Germany, in France, in Europe, everywhere they say, yeah, Nigeria has a wonderful team, the youngest one, and in the next World Cup they will be much better.
Okay, so you talked about the next World Cup, Nigeria being better. Are you going to sit here and tell me that in Qatar, Nigeria is going to do way better than we did in Russia?
We hope so. At first we hope to qualify. It's already difficult to qualify. It was difficult to qualify last time. It will be more difficult to qualify this time because we have to be first in our group. You know that in our group we have teams like Liberia, like Cape Verde, like Central Africa, and we have to finish first in this group, but it's not finished because after we have to make a playoff, home and away, against another first of the 10 groups. So it will not be easy to qualify, but I'm very optimistic. You saw that we did it also in the AFCON qualifier without any defeat, and we want to do the same thing now for the World Cup.
So let's come to the group of Nigeria. In Group C, we have Nigeria, Cape Verde, Central African Republic, and Liberia. What information do you have of these 3 teams currently that can stand you out about their players, their coaches, their playing style, and the venues of the possible venues for their matches away you go away, and the possible venues you like to play your matches at home in Nigeria?
Yeah, actually we are working with my assistant, is analyst Nabil Trabelsi. I have somebody in my staff who is working a lot with video and analysis, so we are working together on our next opponent, which is Liberia. And they have a very young team, under 23, who did very well. And in the last friendly match they did in Egypt, they lost only 1-0. They are very, very defensive. They have a good defensive organization, and it will not be easy to score goals against this team in Lagos when we will play. Normally we will play on the 6th of June, which is a Sunday afternoon at 5 p.m. in Lagos. So I hope that we can win this first match. The second opponent is Cape Verde. They beat Cameroon 3-1, like you saw in the last AFCON qualifier.
Yeah.
And they made the draw in Cameroon. I think this is, on the paper, the most difficult opponent in our group. And Cape Verde has some players from Portugal, some players who are immigrated from Brazil also. And I think this will be the most difficult opponent. But all the 3 opponents are all the time not to underrate. We know that it's no easy team to play in Africa, and we have to be very, very careful, very professional to win our games.
Okay, so one of the things that the media and the football fans of Nigeria, you must have known now that Nigerian fans are very difficult to satisfy. Our appetite for football is higher than Nefertiti's appetite for sex. So there's a lot of complaint that people don't understand the pattern, your methodology, what is the style that Gernot Rohr play, why does the team struggle when they play matches, even though we qualify with ease for competition, but there is sometimes lacking fluidity in the play. What is the style that you play?
Yeah, we want to play offensive football. You know that we had in the last AFCON qualifiers, and even if in the AFCON himself, the best goal scorer. That is not coming like that. When you have the best goal scorer in your team, which means that you play forward, you give him balls. It was the same now in the actual qualifiers. We had this Victor Osimhen, also the best goal scorer. And we are scoring a lot of goals all the time. What we have is a young team who likes to play forward with dynamism, with enthusiasm, and with joy to play football. That is our philosophy. We play technical football. It's no hoo-ha football like we say in Europe. It's a football with short passes, with 1-2, with big movements, and the wings. We have good wingers, and we want to use it to score our goals. What we have to do, we have still to be better in our defensive organization, and we are working on it. But I think offensively now we have a lot of things to do now, a lot of possibilities. When you see the strikers we have, it's really we can be very optimistic to score goals. What we have to find now is the right balance between defensive and offensive organization.
All right, before I bring in any more questions for myself, let me bring the questions from the fans. So I'm going to start this with the question coming from Divine Harmony Tonkei. I hope I pronounced that name well. It said, who decide on which new foreign-born player that should be scouted, would, or invited? The NFF, you, Gernot Rohr, or the scouts? Who decide, those Nigerian players that are born abroad, like Izzy, and who decide who to scout them? Is it you, yourself, or your scout?
The players will decide themselves, because if the players are playing well, we will see it. We have a team of around 10 scouts who are working with me, and we're seeing all the matches with Nigerian players everywhere in the world. So we can see it very easily with the internet, but we can see it also sometimes ourselves when we can travel. If a player is playing well, we decide to scout him. So it's a decision of the player. It's not our decision.
All right, good. Another question coming from Dibia Lebunche Ifeanyi. He said, in your own honest assessment, do you think the Super Eagles have a squad good enough to win the forthcoming AFCON in Cameroon?
Everybody wants to win the AFCON. There will be 24 teams, and I think it will not be easy. But we have a better chance this year or next year, in the beginning of January. We have a better chance than in the last AFCON, because our team now has more experience. We know each one very well. We have good goal scorers. We have, I think, also now confidence, which we did not have so much in the last time. I think we have a better chance to win it, but to say that we will win it, never I will speak like that. In Nigeria, we must learn sometimes to stay a little bit humble also, and it's not always first quality of some people. So let's give them the advice to stay humble, to do all to win it, but not to say we will win it.
All right, I think that is good, because it also shows that you have respect for the opposition, which is something good. But then this is a question coming from Adesoloye Adedeji Adetoro. He said the Super Eagles as it is is technically devoid of a playing algorithm or pattern, as it is your job to do so. Why haven't that been achieved? I really don't understand this question, but I think you should understand it. Coach, over to you.
No, explain again. I didn't understand the question.
I think we have to skip down. But what he's actually saying is, in his own opinion, he thinks that the Super Eagles does not have a playing pattern. So he's playing, throwing big grammar here. He said this team is devoid of playing algorithm. There is no pattern to it. Why is it that the team has not achieved that? I don't know, but do you agree with him?
Yeah, what we have our philosophy. This philosophy now, everybody saw it, how we are doing. We want to be successful. That is the first point. We want to win our matches. We don't want to lose. We hate to lose the matches. And then you must build a strategy which is depending on the players you have. We have good wingers, we have quick players, we have good goal scorers, so we want to play forward. We are behind a little bit more still in a situation where we have to be better, so we have to be collectively all included in this defensive work, that things are not happening again like it happened when you can lead with 3 or 4 goals and you finish like a draw like we did against Sierra Leone. This was a big lesson for everybody. The players sometimes are just a little bit too relaxed because they are young and they believe it's if you lead in halftime is 2 or 3 goals, the match is already finished. No, it's not finished. So we have to be more serious. Our kind of football is very, very offensive, but we also do the defensive job.
Okay, another question coming from Mustafa Wakil Abiodun Schools. He said, what can you tell us about Eberechi Eze, the midfielder that plays for Crystal Palace? Crystal Palace. He used to be Queen's Park Rangers and then now plays for Crystal Palace. What can you tell us about him?
This is a wonderful player. Eberechi Eze is one of the best offensive midfielders I ever saw in England. And I would like to have him with us, but you know that he can play also for England and already played for the young teams in England, and there is a process to do. At first, the boy must accept himself, and the decision must come from him, from his parents, from his own. We cannot tell to him, you must come. He must come from himself, and if he wants to come, he has to write a letter. In this letter, he has to write to FIFA that he wants to switch and to play for Nigeria. This would be wonderful, but I know that we cannot force his decision, and he can only take it himself. What we can do is to explain him how we are working, to explain him what we are doing and what our objectives. That's what we did with players like Alex Iwobi, with players like Akpoguma in the last time. We did it with Ola Aina or Tyrone Ezibue. So we have already some players like that. If we can have Eze, it would be wonderful, but it's not easy.
Okay, so coach, have you spoken to Eze? Have you at any time tried to contact him and speak to him?
I sent him a message. And in this message, I showed the interest Nigeria has to get him in this team. So he replied, and he says he has to think about it. So it is not the moment to speak too much about it.
Okay. Chisom Victor says, why has Sime Nwankwo been overlooked for this long despite consistently scoring goals for Crotone in Italy, the same league that Victor Sime plays? Why have you not invited Sime Nwankwo?
Yeah, you know that I invited Sime already for the last World Cup, and he was with us in Russia, and he came in sometimes. Now We have so many strikers. Unfortunately, we cannot play with 5 center forwards. When you see the center forwards we have already, the concurrence is so big, the competition is so big, that it's not easy for anybody to come in our team. We have Miachu, we have Osimhen, we have Kelechi, who scored again yesterday. I think you saw it, going to the final in the English Cup.
Yes, I saw it.
We have also perhaps the comeback of Ighalo. It could be interesting also. We have Sadiq Umar, which I invited. I wanted to see him for the first time last time, but his club did not release him. He deserves also a chance, one of the best center forwards in Spain, actually. And Sime, I know him very well, and so I didn't have to invite him again to know how it is. The last matches were the last opportunity also for me to see some new players, because now we go to the World Cup and now it will be too late to make experimentations. But I know already Sime very well. It's a very good player also.
Okay, so you just mentioned the return of Odion Ighalo. Now, Ighalo is my friend, and I look at your Super Eagles team. You have a plethora, a truckload of strikers. Why do you need Odion back? Because if you bring back Odion, you'll be blocking the road for one more young player. And I think that Odion has gone to Saudi Arabia, is close to retirement. Why don't let him retire so that people like Paul Onuachu, Kelechi Iheanacho in form right now, Victor Sime Nwankwo, Sadiq Umar, and the rest of them can have enough playing time? Why do you want to bring Odion back?
The answer is very simple. The answer is, when you look at the age of all these players you speak about, they are all young. They are all young, but we need also a little bit experience. And if, for example, Odion Ighalo would replay with us, I don't know if it's possible for the moment, but perhaps if he's coming back, I think that players like Osimhen and even Kelechi could have a big help with the presence of Ighalo to learn, to progress, to see his professionalism. He's a great professional, a big example for everybody, and he's also a great goal scorer. So we are very young, especially in the attack, and it would be good to have some more experience with us.
Okay, so one former Super Eagles player who also played in Europe, in Poland, in Ukraine, his name is Eddie Dombraye. He's currently a coach. He was working with Shakhtar Donetsk some time ago at Dynamo Kiev. He said my question is, I notice you prefer to start with one striker like most teams and countries do now. But with the talent and form of strikers at your disposal now, would you consider starting 2 strikers in your team?
We did it already, Matthew. We did it. We did it in the last game. Remember, we started 4-4-2, and we had Kelechi and Osimhen side on side in the attack. So we did it already sometimes. Normally we play 4-2-3-1, but which means that we have 2 wingers and 1 center forward. So we have already 3 strikers. If you are playing with 4 strikers, we can miss a little bit of balance and solidity. So we must be careful. But we can play with the 2 strikers. We did it already, and we will do it again.
All right, this question is coming from Otite Daffy in London, and this is what he's got to say. He said, what is going on with the dual national call-ups of Kingsley Ehizebue? You called up some time ago, and Dessa as well. They are no longer invited to the team. Then there's Michael Olise that you placed on standby, but when the other players dropped off, you did not get him into the team. What happened to those 2? And then he get a follow-up question, but I need you to answer this first before I bring the follow-up question. Yeah,
so there are 3 names, if I remember well. There are 3 names about you are speaking about.
Yeah, Kingsley Ehizebue,
about 3 boys.
Yes.
Kingsley is an administrative problem. Kingsley was born in Germany, and then he was a refugee, and he had to go to Holland, and he got a Dutch passport. And now, if he takes another passport, for example, Nigeria passport, he must leave the Dutch passport. He cannot have double passport. This is the only problem. We agreed. I met him in Cologne. I saw him. This is agent, and the boy wants to play with us. But if he's playing with us with a Nigerian passport, he will lose the Schengen passport, the Dutch, and he cannot, because in his team he cannot play without the Schengen passport. So this is only an administrative problem. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
And then the other one, only say, is a player we put on the standby, and but he could not come because finally there were some restrictions, and he could not travel. So, like other players, the French players have not been released. Some Spanish player has not been released. Last time, Omerio, Sadiq Umar. In France, we had Kalou, we had Tofi also. So they could not come. That's why I took in the last moment local players to replace them. And there was another player you spoke about. Which one was it?
Dessa, that Cyril Dessa.
Yeah. Cyril Dessa, yeah. Cyril Dessa was already with us. Unfortunately, he's not playing like a starting player so much actually in his club in Belgium, in Genk. Where is Onuachu? Onuachu is a starting player, and very often Cyril Dessa is only a substitute. That's why the competition is so big that I have to take the players who are playing all the time.
Okay. Otite Daffy also asked this question. He said, we have players doing well in Africa. Players like Junior Ajayi, who was at the Olympics in 2016, that plays for Al Ahly of Egypt, Stanley Dingba of Stellenbosch, and the rest of them. Would you consider these players in June, because European League will no longer be on in June when we have the qualifiers, and these African players, they understand the African environment better? Would you consider them for invitation?
We are actually working on our list of 50 players which we have to do for the FIFA, for the World Cup competition, and these players have a big chance to be in the list of 50. And then to play in June, it's not the moment now to test new players. Now we want to bring the best players. We know we have complicity, we have harmony in our team with these players. It's not the moment now to test and to try other players.
Okay, the last question from the fans. There's a lot of fans that are throwing in questions, but the last one that I would take, I don't want to take all of them now. There are too many. Somebody said, his name is Martin Success Oman. He said, ask him why he is still keeping Ahmed Musa as the captain of the team when he can't play from the starting position.
Yeah, Ahmed is a natural captain, and sometimes the captain can have special circumstances that he's not playing in his club. This happened also with Obi Mikel, remember?
Yeah.
When he didn't play in Chelsea, for example. So if the boy is fit, if he has training, if he's doing good physical tests with us, we can control all what they are doing physically. So if they are ready, they can still come and participate. And also, that's not only the captain on the pitch. There's also the historical and general captain, which is Ahmed Musa. And Ahmed Musa, now we're happy that he signed again in the club. It's in Canopilas, it's in the country. And he will play there until the end of the season to get the rhythm again. And last time when we had him in our camp, there were 23 players plus 24 with Ahmed Musa. So fortunately we had him because some of them could not come. They could not leave Europe because of the restrictions of traveling. So finally he was in the 23, and when we lead 3-0 against Lesotho, it was a good moment to bring him in to show him that we have still confidence, and to help him also to come back in a new club. We have also our solidarity with our players.
All right, Stanley Ugochukwu from Abuja have this to say. He said, what is your plan for home base Super Eagles? So the Chan Eagles, what is your plan? Are you going to be here to monitor the Nigerian league and be able to get players to play from the league? You know, those are questions coming in, late questions coming in from Nigerians.
Yes, so like you know, I'm already here and I'm already watching the games, and I have a scouting team. I have former colleagues like Imama, like Yusuf, who can see the games. There are coaches there. They tell me what there is. We have Yobo, which is in Lagos, and he can see everything also around. And we have Aloy, my goalkeeper coach, who spoke to me about John Noble, who did very well. We invited him. And the first step to do now is to have a Chan team. You know that more than 1 year we don't have a Chan team. The Chan team is a team of the players, national team. So we don't have it for the moment. That is a big problem. So I think the NFF will soon name a coach for the Chan team and prepare. And when I see the best players of this local team, like I did with Salisu all the time, and he was my assistant, he was also coach of the Chan team, and we work together, and I have confidence to my colleague. If he says this one can come with us in the A team, so we give him a chance, you know. Last time I invited 3 local players. Then we have a look around, Senegal, Cameroon, Zambia, all other countries, they don't have local players. Even Benin, they didn't have any local player, Benin Republic.
Yeah.
So we had 3, and I all the time have 1. I think I have already 26 players invited, local players, since I'm here, but most of them, once they are invited, they are sold to Europe or to other professional leagues, and this is becoming a big business, you know. We take the best one, we give them a chance, but the competition is so high with the European players that it's not easy for them to come in. But they have to show it first in the Chan team if they are able to come up or not.
Okay, Coach, I'm not going to bore you with more questions. There is a lot of questions. What I'm going to do is, from time to time, we're going to be having this conversation. Maybe somewhere again in June, we would have another interview like this where we would talk to the press. But beyond that, as I let you go, before I let you go, what type of Nigerian food have you learned how to eat?
I like very much vegetable soup. I like also the Nigerian chicken. I like it very much, and I enjoy it. But it must not be too hot for me, because I'm not used to this pepper food.
Okay, have you eaten semo? Have you eaten eba, pounded yam, or amala?
Repeat your question, please.
Have you eaten any of the swallows like semo, amala, eba, pounded yam? Which one have you eaten?
Yeah, swallows. Yeah. I know. I tried it, but it's not my favorite meal. I can tell you.
But have you eaten Nigerian jollof rice and fried plantain?
Yeah. Jollof rice I like very much. I like this meal. Plantain also. Yes, I like it. Chicken with plantain, for example. A good jollof rice. Yes, I like it very much.
Okay, so if you have the powers to decide for the Nigerian FA, which stadium would be your permanent stadium for the Super Eagles to be playing their matches?
Yeah, the best place is Uyo, because we have a wonderful stadium, a good grass. We have also a training pitch with the same grass. We have a wonderful hotel facilities. There is space around the hotel for walking, for running, for training, and it is the best place. But we like also Lagos, because in Lagos we had wonderful facilities in the Eco Hotel, and we had a very warm welcome by the governor. And when you see somewhere that you are desired, that the people want to have you, to see you again, it's always wonderful. So we will be happy to be again end of May in Lagos.
All right, thank you very much for your time on the show today. It's been great talking to you, Coach Gernot Rohr. But as we leave you, you say you speak Latin, English, French, German, and a little bit of Pidgin English and a little bit of Yoruba. Can you, in all of this word, all of this language, greet Nigerians in Latin, in German, in French, in English, in all of the language? Tell them thank you for always supporting you. Go ahead.
Yes, of course. Vielen Dank für Ihre Unterstützung, which means many thanks for your support of the Nigerian supporters. Then I told you already that I prefer to say Yoruba, Munifere, and in Pidgin it's how you do.
Good. What about in Latin and in French?
In Latin, comment estás?
Good.
And in French, comment allez-vous?
Thank
Comment
you.
allez-vous? How are you? Comment allez-vous?
Ça va bien, merci, right?
Ça va très bien.
No, ça va très bien. Okay, thank you very much, Coach Gernot Rohr. Some other times we would have to talk, and some other people, please, if I did not ask your questions, I'm sorry. Time is not on our side. We've spent 45 minutes with Coach Gernot Rohr on the show, and you know the show is just 60 minutes. It means that we don't have time anymore. But thank you very much, Coach. Next time when we talk, maybe we will talk about other things apart from the ones that we talked about today. I wish you and your team successful acting at the next Nations Cup. I've already placed a bet that you will win the Nations Cup, so I hope I don't lose that bet. And I also believe that Nigerian can get as high as the quarterfinals and semi-finals of the next World Cup in Qatar, especially now that it's not being played in Europe and in North America or South America. I just hope that Africa would seize this opportunity in Asia, in Qatar, with the weather working to our advantage and go as high as the semi-finals. Who knows? You might just be the coach that wins the World Cup for the first African team. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.